Motion graphics are very handy, especially when it comes to doing things for folks who, say for instance, just want you to edit together something. So they give you a bunch of footage and they say to you, hey, I want you to edit this together, can you put a cool little title on top of it? So knowing how to do some basic graphic work and knowing how to animate that stuff is very handy when it comes to having someone just, come to you and say, hey, can you help me out with a little bit of editing? Motion graphics are generally part and parcel of that whole deal. So we got this real basic logo we're going to make here. And I'm going to kind of just put this to the side, and what we'll do is we'll just kind of take a look and see how we form these kinds of things here. So I've got this artboard here. The way we're going to start this off with is we're going to start this off by going to making a new object here. So open up Illustrator, make a new file, and make it either web large or some kind of 1920 by 1080 object. Press create, and what we'll do here is we'll just start off with a circle, right? So if you look over here on your toolbox, if you don't see what I see, window, workspace, and just essentials, and I'm just going to hit reset essentials just so I can see. So we're all on the same page here, right? So you'll see over here a little square, rectangle. You hold that down, you find ellipse, or you just press L on the keyboard, hold down Shift, create an ellipse, and you've got this picture, this circle here. So I'm going to change this to red, and then take my stroke off like this. So fill just refers to what's the fill, and then we have the same kind of instructions there in Adobe Premiere here. So if you don't see this over here under offset, we're going to use what's called an offset, which basically just shrinks it or grows it in one way, keeping all the proportions constrained here. So I'm going to go to object, and I'm going to go to offset path, or path offset path, right? And that's going to give us the ability to either grow it, you can see it gets a little bigger, or to shrink it. So in this case, you put in negative, and then it'll shrink, and you can see it kind of goes inside a little bit here. So what I'll do with this, now my circle, if you look over here, you can see my circle is about 566 pixels tall. I'm going to go ahead and subtract maybe 20 pixels off of this, and it's going to make this sort of thicker kind of bar between these two areas. And I'll press OK. And I'll do that one more time. I'm going to go here to offset, and once again do 20, and then that should give us 3 circles, one inside the other, like this, right? So without moving them, I'm just going to select everything here, and you should see a little thing that says Pathfinder. If you don't see Pathfinder, go over here to Window and click on Pathfinder. Pathfinder allows you to do a couple different things. For instance, if you hit this button here, it just unifies everything, which we don't need to do. If you do this right here, it'll subtract everything from the front, which we also don't need to do. If you click right here, what it'll do is it'll give you sort of a intersection, which is where they all overlap. We don't need that. The last thing is what we're going to use, exclude, which is going to kind of take away one from the center here. And so we can kind of see that's kind of what we got here. But yeah, okay, so that'll be that. So we'll just move it to the side for now, this whole thing. And let's see if we can create this little starburst. So we're going to create 2 little starbursts, and we want like another little ring here. So what we'll do is we'll take this. This is 566. I'm going to go over here to my circle. I'm going to click once. I'm going to create. I'm going to click once. I'm going to create a pixel that's 566 pixels tall and wide here. So I'll just move that to the side as well. And let's go over here to hold down a button down on our ellipse tool, and then click on a star tool. Click once, and let's make a couple different stars. So we're going to make one star that's going to have, like, say for instance, 25 points, right? And my radius 1 is going to be 25. My radius 2 is going to be 50. I might make that a bit bigger. I might make it like 100. But I might make it like, for instance, like a 700. And I might make radius 1. This is basically where the points of the stars are inwards. I'm going to make this one, say for instance, 350. So about half the width, right? So now we see all that, right? So that's kind of fun. I might make that just a smidgen smaller here, because that was the radius, not the diameter here. I'll just shrink this down a little bit here, just to be just inside this circle. And I'll change this to blue, just so I can see what I'm doing. Now, what we can do here with this star is we can kind of figure out, we can put the star in on itself, cut a little bit of the circle out here. So what we'll do is we'll just take this, and I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to say arrange and bring to front. And I'm actually just going to pull this off to the side for just a second here. And what we'll do is we'll just select both of these, and we'll just center them. We should see a line over here. If you don't see a line, you can go to Window and go to Align. But I'm going to hit Center and then Center again. And then what we'll do is we'll use our Pathfinder tool here just to click on this one that says minus front. And so we have this little minus front now. I'm going to take this circle here and sort of drag this over this way and center these guys. Maybe center them to the selection, right? And I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to offset this by like maybe 20, maybe even yeah, I'll set it by like 20, right? And preview this, and then press OK, and then I'll just select both of these circles here, and then I'll just minus front here, and then we can select both the star and the circle, and then unite these. And then what we'll do is we'll just select both these, and we'll unify them, or we'll line them up. And I'll just make this. I'll just click on the star and make it just a little bit bigger by holding down Shift and Alt at the same time. And now we have this little 3 rings plus our inner circle here. Okay, so this is where it gets a little bit complicated here. We're going to put this to the side. In fact, what I'll do is I'll just unite all this just so it's all one thing, right? So I can kind of put this to the side. Let's take this text box here. I'm going to create a little rectangle, and I might just shrink down the corners a little bit, just round the corners off. And then what I'll do the same thing. I'll click over here, offset the path, and I'm going to offset it by, say, for instance, 50. Let's see what that looks like. Preview that. That looks good. And then we'll just click on this, and we'll just do the same thing we did before, minus front. And then I'm going to take my text tool, and I'm going to write the phrase motion graphics in all caps. And I'm going to change this. I'm going to, first off, I'll grow this a good deal. And then I'll change the font to say something like something a little more blocky. Like I'm going to choose Arista. If you don't have Arista, then you can choose something else. But I think this looks kind of fun. And I'll just take this and I'll center this like so. And I might go over here to Type and create outlines. And then it'll allow me to unite these guys here. So I'll unite them. I'll keep it black for now. Okay, with that done, what I'll do is I'll just right click on this whole thing, this whole unite thing. I'll right click on this. I'm going to transform and shear, and I'll shear it by, say, for instance, -10 degrees. Which, if you look at that, I'll make sure that's on the vertical axis as well, right? So I'll just press OK, and then I'll give you this little sheared thing here. So let's unite all this stuff together. And what we'll do now is we'll take a look. See, I want this to be kind of like showing through. I don't want the sun to be visible behind it. This little starburst thing to be visible behind this. So I want to take all this kind of apart here, and I want to kind of cut out what's in the middle. So that involves a couple of different things. I'm going to double click on this this guy right here, and that'll give me what's called isolation mode. So the black shape kind of goes away, and the red shape is easily seen here. So I'm going to get the letter P on the keyboard for the pen tool, and I'm just going to click 4 points inside the corners of my sort of motion graphics bar here, and I'm going to just click on that. Let's make this little parallelogram. I'm going to change this to green, and then I'm going to go over here to Edit, Copy, and then Edit, Paste in Place, and I'm going to change that to blue. And let me just try that one more time. Edit, Undo, and I'm just going to once again, let me drag this out of the way here. So once again, once that's done, I'm going to go to Edit, Copy, Edit, Paste in Place, and then I'll go to Fill, change it to blue. All right, and then I'll do once again Edit, Paste in Place, which I'll have it in the green one here. So with that done, with 3 of these, one by one, I'm going to just click once and then hold down the Shift key and then click on one part of this. So for instance, the inner circle here, and I'll minus front. And then I'll click on the blue, the next one, and I'll hold down Shift and click on the inner ring, and I'll click minus front again. And I'll click on the green, and I'll hold down Shift, and I'll click on the starburst, and I'll click minus front. And so that should give me the ability to see past everything. So once I click on this, now what I can do is I can click on this guy, and we can have our motion graphics. So I'm not going to unite anything else, but if for instance I were to say, for instance, make a series of colorful blocks one by one here, just sort of show what I'm looking at. Okay, like so, and just sort of group these together and then put them all on the bottom. You can see that I can see past all of these guys here. So all of the stuff is totally see-through, and that's important for like when we put this on a little piece of footage here. Now let me just real quick grab all this and kind of pull all this down. And I'm going to make one more starburst here. What we'll do is we'll make another star. Let me just click over here with my star tool. So let me go here, hold down the button on top of that, click on star, click on once, and instead of 25, say for instance, make it like, I don't know, like 12 or something. And that will give us a fewer of these. But real quick, we'll do 12, and then we'll actually make the radius 1 be very, very tiny. We'll make it like, say for instance, 200 to make these like super thin spikes, like so. And we'll just shrink this down slightly so it's about as big as right here. So you notice we're just going to approximate kind of all this. So we get 12 hanging out here, and what we'll do is we'll just we'll get a circle. Hold on Shift, get a circle here, and just sort of put it on top of this. I want this to be about as big. Let's click on my Starburst here. The Starburst says it's 607,825. I'm just going to copy that. And I'll just paste it here. All right, cool. And then I'll make this a little bit bigger. And I'll center this, and then minus front, and then it'll give me this little starburst on the side here. So that's kind of fun. I might just pull it away a little bit. Okay. And let's make sure we got this centered. So I'm just gonna hold down Shift and center this. All right, cool, neato. All right, so with that done, I'll change this to red as well. And I'll change this to red as well. So everything's red. Now we want to make sure everything is in the right layer. We want to make sure we have multiple layers for all this. So I'm going to make a couple different layers. But first off, let me just get rid of this right here. And I'll just make like maybe 5 or 6 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's take a look and see what we got over here. For our layers, we have the text on one layer. So let me get the text here. Let me go over this. So just grab this, Control X to cut, and then over to your layers, just Control F. And then double click on this name to give it the name text, right? And then over here for the next one down, I have the solid circle, so the circle on the inside. So just we can go here to layer 5, and we can hit the letter A on the keyboard, or click this little white arrow and just click one by one. This little semicircle here and this little semicircle here. Once again, Control X, and then Control F, and call this one solid circle. And then over here for layer 4, it says the inner circle, I want to say, inner ring. So we can click on this one with the letter. Once again, we have the white arrow selected. Hold down Shift, click on the other one, Control X. Oops. Make sure we click on the entire thing here. Control X. Try it one more time. Okay, cool. Let me try this one more time here. What we can do is we can actually click on this, and we actually go over here to Properties and go to Ungroup. That way we should be able to click on this one by one. So here we go. X, Control F on layer 4. Call it Inner Ring. Press OK. And then layer 3, or rather layer 3, we should get this, and we can get like the smaller starburst here. Small starburst. Control F, and then for this one we can just get rid of this layer 2 here. For layer for layer 1 we can call it outer starburst. All right, so we'll save this as a .ai file. So save this as a .ai file and submit this as a .ai file just to make sure we have it all. So we'll call this one animating a logo and press save. And we'll pop this into Premiere, to After Effects, and we'll animate this with a couple different techniques. All right, well, very cool. Can't wait to see you guys produce. See you in class.